What is up, everybody? Mike here on a very chilly day, but I was driving past the dealership, saw this awesome blue Challenger Scat Pack, and I was like, I definitely want to go check it out. And Freedom, being the awesome group that they are, pretty much gave me the keys and told me to bring it back in an hour. So anyway, let's go have some fun. So first things first, this is a 2016 Dodge Challenger SRT 392 Scat Pack, which I know is a mouthful, but it makes it that much cooler when you tell all your friends what you just bought. So the first thing I noticed when I got into the Scat Pack was that the transmission is considerably different than the Hellcat. Of course, the Hellcat is the unit straight from the Viper. The clutch in this is a lot lighter, and a little bit easier. The gearbox, it does feel very different, which when I originally bought the Hellcat, having driven one of these a long time ago, I was like, oh, they're exactly the same. But no, when you after you're used to the Hellcat, you get back in this, it is definitely a lot different. But anyway, enough of me rambling. Let's get into third gear here and do a little highway pull. Oh shit! Oh, that is a good noise too. I mean, it sounds a lot different than the Hellcat, that's for sure. But yeah, you might think after driving the Hellcat around for a long time that this wouldn't feel that fast. No, it still feels pretty damn quick, and it's a lot. That NA power just comes on from low RPM, man. This thing is impressive. I mean, it's pushing out almost 500 horsepower still. So, you know, don't think that because it's not a Hellcat, the thing can't move, because it does. All right, so let's get one more little pull here. Back end getting a little loose there, man. I love these cold days in a car like this. Yeah, but anyway, you know, for someone who dailies a 707 horsepower car, this thing doesn't feel slow at all, which I'm actually kind of surprised by. You know, it still really throws you back, and it's just no slouch. So back to what I was saying, 500 horsepower in this is still a lot of power. And, you know, it brings up an interesting point about this car, because this thing is still a hell of a deal. And, you know, I think it's a lot like the Hellcat in the fact that it doesn't really compete with the Mustang. It doesn't really compete with the Camaro. It's too old, it's too big, yada, yada, yada. But if you want a muscle car, if you want one of the last true muscle cars, this is it. And I mean, the thing is just so much fun to drive. So this is a 6.4 liter V8, whereas the Hellcat is a 6.2 liter V8 supercharged. So totally different engines and a totally different animal, it really is. But, you know, the value is staggering, because I'm looking here at the sheet. Total price for this car, $42,000 for 500 horsepower. Now think about that. This still out-muscles the brand new Mustang GT, the brand new Camaro SS. Still not faster. Sorry, still more powerful than those. Now, of course, it's probably not faster because it's much heavier, but you still get a lot of power. And I mean, look at the exterior of this thing. I mean, if this isn't a muscle car, I don't know what is, and it looks absolutely fantastic. You park it next to a new Mustang and a new Camaro, you definitely think that's the muscle car. You know, the Challenger is the muscle car out of the three. So back to the Scat Pack for a second. What all do you get? Well, not just exterior stuff, but to cover that for a second, you get different grille, front fascia, front splitter, different hood, rear spoiler, cooler looking wheels. You get a lot of stuff, let's put it that way. Then mechanically, you get, of course, the engine, different exhaust setup, which is quite loud. It might even be louder than the Hellcat, believe it or not. Quite loud exhaust. You get different suspension setup, so you get a lot of different stuff with this car, which is what I like. You know, the Scat Pack isn't just some joke that they strap on and it's like, oh, you get 3 things and a little badge to go with it. There's a lot of different hardware that comes along with this car, which is just, again, adds to the value proposition of the Scat Pack. And like I touched on earlier, again, this is definitely a muscle car. It is not going to be a back road attack machine, but it's one hell of a muscle car. And it does a lot of stuff well. You know, I'm driving this thing around on these back roads. There's constant construction because I live in Pennsylvania, and that's just how it is in this state for God knows what reason. And it handles these bumps really well. The gearbox is really easy to drive, even though it's a lot different than the Hellcat, but I'm getting used to it really quickly. And, you know, I'm not screwing up too many shifts here to look bad on camera. But it's just, it's a great car. It's just so much fun. It really is. I mean, I just can't think of anything for 40 grand that gives you this much power, maybe this much fun. Of course, you know, the handling is a big issue for some people, and I totally get that. And, you know, it's just not going to be a good handling car. It's just too big, too heavy, like I've said. But if you just want to go fast in a straight line, if you just want a red light to red light warrior and a fun muscle car to look at and drive around, definitely something you should consider, especially considering the price, which is not a lot compared to most cars these days. So, you know, just comparing this for a second, you know, if you're somebody who wants a fun, fast car, a muscle car, whatever you want something with power, you want something that's going to put a smile on your face every day, maybe you even want a Hellcat, but you don't want to drop the extra 25, 30 grand on a Hellcat, check this car out because it's still really fast. And I mean, let's be honest, how many times can you really exploit 700 horsepower from a Hellcat? Not that often. I mean, even this is too much power that you can use every day. I mean, you can rarely, but the Hellcat, you can't get above 4,000 RPMs because by that point you're already traveling well into illegal speeds, and you know, you need like a mile-long stretch of highway to do it. This car, same deal. It's still a lot more power than you can use on a regular basis, but it's a little bit, you got a little bit more room to play, and it offers every bit as fun as the Hellcat does for a lot less money. I truly believe that, you know, and I'm someone who owns a Hellcat, so I'm not being biased. I wouldn't be biased against my own car, and I'm still saying that this offers 95% of the fun that you can use 95% of the time for a lot less money. So this is definitely something that you should keep in mind if you're looking for a car like a Hellcat. Alright guys, so I'm just pulling back into the dealership here, so I want to thank you all so much for joining me on this little quick drive. I hope you all enjoyed. I definitely had a great time. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe. Take care. Have a great day.